to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You received the minutes of the August 18th meeting. Is there a motion for acceptance?
So moved.
Ivan?
All right, let's see, let's choose first. Lake Harmony Estates. This is at 100 Spring Street, and basically what they developed, this applicant, he bought one large lot, and he's subdividing it into 4 lots. And there's an existing home on the lot at 100 Spring Street. I don't know if everybody knows where Spring Street's at up there. It's zoned R2 medium density residential. It's 2.76 acres, 4 lots. Central storage proposed and on-lot water is proposed. And because they're doing an extension of Bird Street and we're connected to the central storage system, it's considered a major subdivision. It's existing residential pressure wood covered land tract, light to moderate slope units to surround. On-site investigation revealed an existing structure on proposed lot 315-1. No visible barriers for development of the remaining lots were proposed. The plan, as submitted, will be reviewed as a major subdivision since the proposed plan requires the construction extension of the central sewer system, disposal system, and the extension of Bird Streets, which are private or public community facilities. And there's section 153, 18, and 19 require a separate submission of the preliminary plan and final plan for major subdivisions. Applicant is requesting a waiver of relief from these solvable requirements that requires unconditional preliminary plan approval before final plan submission for review and approval. And the waiver request is submit the current plan as the preliminary final plan for review approval. And I pointed out that we would have no issue with approval as the waiver request is shown in the plan. Therefore, the plan as submitted will be reviewed as a preliminary final plan. I do have the comments from Arrow, the Kidder Township engineer, and they recommended approval of the waiver request. The one thing that this plan is not going to talk to the engineer for the plan, and they're not submitting it to the Carbon County Plan or Conservation District for review and approval of. However, their engineer says because it's under an acre, we don't need an NIPSES permit, we don't have to submit, but they do. I pointed out preliminary plans for major subdivisions, land development, soil erosion, and sedimentation control. Approval of the preliminary plan shall be conditional upon the approval of the soil and erosion sedimentation control plan by the Carbon County Conservation District. Section 153-18G and Salvo Section 153-54. Final plans upon the completion of all improvements, the applicant shall provide to the township plans certified by the applicant surveyor engineer showing all such improvements as installed. Failure of the applicant to provide the as-built plan shall constitute a violation of the chapter. That was also pointed out. They just have here that it's going to be the storage line is going to be submitted by AVA. Nothing, you know, they didn't submit anything with it. And down here at the end, they just let there's an end. Is there a cap on the end, or they're just going to let the sewage run out? They're putting grinder pumps in. Preliminary plan requirements for major subdivisions, surveyor certification not completed. Existing resource and site analysis plan not prepared, submitted. Again, they're requesting a waiver relief, and I would recommend approval of this waiver request only because the township engineer approved it already. Preliminary resource and impact conservation analysis not prepared to categorize the impacts of the proposed activities and physical alterations to the resources shown on the existing resource and site analysis plan, which is clearly demonstrates that the applicant has minimized site disturbances to the greatest extent possible. They didn't ask for relief from this, so I just pointed it out. Dimensions of the existing residence and driveway located on the proposed lot 315-1 not shown. The existing sanitary sewer line not shown. Location of existing and proposed utility easements for all these sanitary sewer lines not shown. A revised information documenting the water table depth and potential for affecting the groundwater supply not submitted. Again, they're requesting relief from the SALDO requirement, and they have no issues with the approval of this waiver because their engineer already approved it. Revised storage facility planning module is required from the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection for the proposed connection to the existing sanitary system, and a copy of the approval letter from DEP shall be provided once obtained. Again, final plan requirements for major subdivisions, the existing resource analysis plan, the final resources impacting the conservation analysis was pointed out in the preliminary. Surveyor certification is not completed. Final plan of the sewage disposal system showing all pertinent details, elevations, grinder pumps, connections, end cap for the 2-inch sewer line near the proposed lot 315-4 not shown provided. Again, a copy of the adequacy letter of the erosion control plan being inadequate by the conservation district shall be provided before final plan approval. Approved maintenance of development improvements plan of the per Article 4 succession of the ownership and continue operations and maintenance of all development improvements not provided. Applicant proposing any land development to provide for the installation improvements required by the chapter. This is 153.43. Or amenities which appear in the final plan shall be required to enter into a legally binding developers agreement with the township prior to final plan approval. General design standards, storm drainage, lots and parcels shall be laid out and graded to provide positive drainage away from the buildings and prevent damage to neighboring lots, tracts, parcels. Stormwater management shall be provided in accordance with the township stormwater regulations. Sheet 1 of 7. That's page 7 of 7. That's a little 30 to be honest. Right. If they're showing their discharge point right here, and basically what they're doing is they're doing concentrated flow going right down, right across this, they call it a vacant lot, there's nobody there, they say. Well, somebody owns it, you just can't run stormwater right across the middle of the lot in case he wants to build in the future. So I pointed that out, and then they come down here, there's a pipe underneath South Lake Drive, which I pointed out that they have to do a sizing on it, so, you know, accept the flow. And this dumps right into Lake Harmony, and this is high quality watershed with Toby Hanna. And the streets, the private access street, Bird Street extension is shown in the plan, has a proposed 40-foot right-of-way width. The table 15351 requires a 50-foot right-of-way width for a private access street. The variance will be required from the SALDO requirements. The private access street as proposed does not meet the following requirements of table 15351 design standards, and the private access street cross section is shown in plan sheet 1 of 7 depicts an 18-foot wide roadway consisting of 8 inches of number 2 stone or equivalent. The table requires a super paved wearing and binder course for private streets when it provides access to more than one dwelling unit. The applicant is requesting a waiver relief from the SALDO requirement, and I put down the Carbon County Planning Commission would not recommend approval of this waiver request as shown, and their engineer is in agreement with that also. The Carbon County Plan, under general comments, the Carbon County Planning Commission recommends that the plans proposed should be submitted to the Carbon County Conservation District by the applicant for the review and issuance of an erosion sedimentation control plan adequacy letter. We base this recommendation on the following plan data. Plan sheet 1 of 7. The revision statement states that for any reason to the approved drainage plan, we will request approval from Kidder Township and submit a revised E&S plan to the Carbon County Conservation District for determination of accuracy. And plan sheet, excuse me, is master key. 2 and 7, general note 40, should be revised from the Monroe County Conservation to Carbon County Conservation District with correct address and phone number. And I just pointed out that we did a review, sent it up to Kidder Township, and let them decide what to do with it. So we don't need to, we just need a recommendation to send it up to Kidder.
Is there a motion for that recommendation?
Second.
All in favor, consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Recommendation is passed.
And the last one is a 2-lot subdivision down near the Mahoning convalescent home. It's Scott Mead. And basically, he's breaking out a 2-acre parcel and keeping the remaining 36.615 acres for himself. Again, 38.615 acres, 2 lots. Lot 1, 2 acres. Lot 2 is 36.615. On-lot water and sewer existing on Lot 1. Proposed for Lot 2. It's an existing brush and wood covered land tract, moderate to severe sloping due to surround. On-site investigation on portions of the proposed tract revealed existing structures on proposed Lot 1. Stewart Creek was also noted traversing proposed Lot 1, and no visible barriers toward development are noted. The Mahoning Township requires a $200 fee for each of the 2 lots in lieu of recreation facilities for final plan of approval. Permanent reference monument shown on the lot corner of, I forget his name, Zachariah. Zachariah B.R.R. Kern. Location map does not conform to the requirements of the ordinance. Required ownership certification not signed, and I pointed out they need original signatures, and I would recommend conditional plan approval. It's all minor.
Any discussion? Is there a motion for conditional plan approval?
So moved.
All in favor, consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Conditional plan approval is granted.
All right. We have two letters. The sewer facility planning module for Scott Mead completed, and let's see, the MTF grant application support for the borough of Lehighton. Creation of safe pedestrian connections and calm motorist traffic along the Sergeant Stanley Huffman Boulevard. We had this last year and the year before, and they got over $200,000 to start the project. They need just more money to finish it. And they seek funding to obtain, complete the waterfront pedestrian safety and traffic calming improvements. They're going to construct a pedestrian walkway along the west side of Lehigh Drive, which provides access to the new Lehighton Outdoor Center. And it's anticipated 100 employees and 20,000 plus people a year seeking kayak, bicycling, or rafting excursions. And the nearby trailhead to the Lehigh Spur, the D&L Trail, which draws additional recreational users. They're going to eliminate a full left turn lane along the 0.6 stretch of the Sergeant Stanley Boulevard bypass. So they're basically going to take the left out, just keep one lane going through, and everywhere they're going to put 3 crossing walks up, and they're going to put the flashing lights to let people, for the pedestrians to stop everyone. And along the way at all these crossings, they're going to put curves out to slow the traffic down also. Okay. Based on a review, the proposed project is consistent with the goals outlined in the Central Carbon County Park, Recreation, Greenway, and Open Space Plan, as well as conforming to the goals and objectives of the Carbon County Comprehensive and Greenway Plan. And I wrote the Carbon County Office of Plan Development, please support the Lehighton Borough in their efforts to create a practical consistency between the borough upper and lower park areas, the Heighton Borough Downtown Business District, and the Waterfront District. And I thank them for providing the opportunity to comment. And the last one is the ITG Incorporated Title 5 operating permit up in McAdoo. It used to be the old ITG cigar company up there. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it. But basically, every 5 years they have to renew their permit. And just I sent a letter to Mark Weekshiner, Air Quality Program Manager, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, DEP, up in Wilkes-Barre. And that was it.
The last item is nomination for Carbon County Conservation District. Does anyone have a recommendation? What do we need to do, Kathy? Just that we're approving Josiah Barnes then?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, if you just want to recommend him for reappointment, because
Okay.
he wants to be reappointed.
Okay, we need a motion to have Josiah Barnes reappointed as the director.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recommendation is approved. Frank's not here. Yes.
One more. I forgot, Lansing Township proposed zoning ordinance amendments. And there's numerous amendments here, just, it's all different wording, that they changed the definition of animal shelters, and they just added the words profit, or between the words other and non-profit. Let's see, definition of livestock shall be amended by adding canids, bees, and crickets. Definition of manure storage facility shall be amended by adding the word allowable between the words above and storage. If anybody wants to go through this, there's a change in terms of a lot of things regarding animals and husbandry and stuff, things like that. Big thing, they're changing their zoning map. They're changing a lot of areas. Talking before the meeting with Dwight, and he said that they missed when they did the rezone. They rezoned and did the zoning map. They made it a lot of this stuff. So there's a lot of these properties are changed from R to LC, all the way along Interchange Road. And my one concern, and I talked with Greg Haas, is we just don't want to have something that's going to turn into another Monroe County. We're going to have all these small businesses all along 209.
If you look at the previous zoning map, they're all just what they were. Nothing changed, except they were left out.
Yeah, I have the new zoning map. And
Yeah, if you compare that to the old one, they're just the same.
all right. And that's the letter saying that based on a review, the Carbon County Planning Commission believes that the proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance map are consistent with current land use practices, therefore recommend approval. And then I pointed out section 609 of the municipality's planning code specifies a procedure that must be followed. Within 30 days after the enactment, they have to send a copy up to the planning office. That is it.
Commissioner, any comments?
No comment.
We need a pinch hitter for Frank for a motion to dismiss.
So moved.
Okay,